Right, well, it's been a little while since I talked about the Xbox One, so I thought I'd like to get back to it today. And what I'd like to look at is the Creators Update. And this has been rolling out to people on the Insiders program over the last week or so. Some people will already have it, some people will be getting it down the line. And it's going to roll out to everybody in the spring. Now, I would suggest it's probably going to come at E3 because we got a big update to the guide and everything else at E3 last year. So it would seem fitting, wouldn't it, for Microsoft to do that and tie it in with some other big announcements or whatever and make it available on the day of the conference. I would imagine that's what they'll do. But in the meantime, let's have a look and see some of the things you can expect to be getting. Now, the first thing you'll see is the icon at the top left of the screen. It's changed slightly, it's a bit smaller, and basically the game that you're currently playing or the app that you're currently using will be shown like this in the future. And then you go down, you've got Game Hub, Explore and Share from there. So that's quite nice. I think, I don't know, it's a little bit cleaner, I think. It's going to be personal taste, isn't it? The other thing you'll notice is I've currently got Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare 2 up. And if you look, the artwork behind is for Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare. And that is what Microsoft are calling hero art, or to you and me, contextual art. And basically, whatever you're playing will load up art. So if I go into Rocket League, and then I come out of Rocket League, and then go home, you'll see that the background art will have changed to Rocket League. And there you go. Now, that will only load up if you're not using your own artwork. So if you're using custom backgrounds, this won't work. But I think it looks quite nice. I think it makes it look quite nice and clean. Again, it's going to be personal taste. From there, it's still all pretty much the same. You've got your pins and so on and so forth. Now, this is one issue that I had with the pins. I found that they weren't loading up the graphics for them. So the icons weren't showing properly. And I had to reboot my Xbox. So that's one little glitch I experienced. But that's pretty much it for the home screen. There's not a lot else to look at. As I say, pretty much everything there is as it has been in the past. So from the home screen, the next thing you want to look at is the guide. And if you tap the Xbox guide button, it brings up the guide. And the first thing you see is Home, Games and Apps, Store, and then you've got your recent apps, background music. Now, basically, this guide will come up with a single button press wherever you are. So wherever you are, whether you're playing a game, whether you're at the home screen, doesn't matter. One tap and it brings up this guide. So everything you've got here will be available wherever you are within the Xbox with one tap. And that means that obviously background audio is going to be playable from there. So that's a nice touch. And it also means one of my little pet niggles with this isn't such a big deal. Now, if we go back a moment from here, if you were in, say, a game at the moment and you wanted to go back home, in the past, what you would do is you would tap the home button and it would take you directly home. Well, now it brings the guide up. So how do you get home? Well, you've tapped the guide button, then you have to hit the left thumbstick left to home, and then you have to press home. So it's 3 actions, if you like, to get home. So that's a trade-off for the functionality that you're getting with the guide button and the quickness and ease of use that you're getting with the guide button. I don't know. I didn't like it that much at first, but I'm getting used to it now. And my little boy didn't like it that much either, but he's got used to it as well. So we will get used to it. And I think it is a worthwhile trade-off. Up to you whether you agree with me or whether you don't agree with me, but it's the way it is, so we're going to have to get used to it, I suppose. But as I say, you can go in, you've got all your recent apps, then you've got your background audio, which is contextual as well. If you're not playing any background audio, this won't be there. And then your pins and everything from there. And then if you go across, you've got all the usual stuff. You can log on and off. You've got your gamer score. And if you look on here, you've got an achievement tracker. Now, that's another little glitch I've encountered because I turned on the achievement tracker and it's turned itself off. So I don't know whether it's working or not. But I'm sure it will be by the time they release it to everybody. Then we've got obviously parties, looking for group, the usual stuff. That's not changed very much. Friends and clubs, again, not changed very much. We've already been to this one. Then you've got messages, notifications, and settings. So that's pretty much it for the main stuff within this. The other thing they're talking about is it gives you more multitasking options. Well, obviously, that's pretty much covered by this. The fact that when you go into the guide, pretty much everything's available from there. And it is quite slick. And I have to reiterate this. If you're in a game and you press the guide button, all this stuff's there to hand. The other thing is, if you're in a game, so if we go in a game and you press the guide button, you've got a few more options. If you look, Y, save screenshot, X, record that. Now that was there before, but there's been a couple of extra things added in. So for instance, if you go into here now, the bottom option, start recording, and you can choose your options for your recordings. So that gives you a little bit more functionality within there. So the whole idea with this is that it's designed to allow you to start recording or even to start streaming directly from within game, and you haven't actually got to do much setting up beforehand. So that's going to be quite good. And Microsoft are going to be bringing out a new broadcast service called Beam, which I think is designed to compete with Twitch. So presumably that's going to roll out, well, according to what they said, I think that's going to roll out in the next few weeks. So it'll be interesting to see how that does. But you'll still be able to stream to Twitch and to YouTube and various other places as well. So yeah, that's basically it for the main stuff. What else have we got? Let's have a look. Cortana's got a couple of extra things. I haven't got my microphone available at the moment, but I can tell you what it does. You can set reminders and alarms, although I tested it out yesterday and I set a reminder, and first off it got the name of the person I was setting the reminder for wrong, and then it didn't remind me. So whether it's working properly or not, I couldn't tell you, but it didn't seem to be working for me. The idea is it's supposed to remind you of cross devices as well, so it should have given me a reminder on my PC, which it didn't do. So who knows? I don't know whether it's working, whether it's a bit glitchy or what. But as I say, beta. This is what you expect with a beta. Apparently system updates have been improved as well. So when it does a system update, it will give you a better interface and you'll be able to track what's going on with the update as well. Obviously, that's not available yet because you need to be doing an update to be able to see that happening. But you're not going to see that very often anyway, to be honest. Most of the time, updates will be going on in the background. Then they've added a couple of extra things to accessibility. Now, what they're going to be is specifically, there's something called Copilot. And what that will do, and I thought this was a bit weird at first until I thought about it a bit more. Copilot allows two controllers to control the same thing. So the same game, in effect. Why would you want that, you would think? Well, if you think about it, a bit like dual controls in a car, it allows someone to take over the controls and show someone how to do something. So if you're in a game and you're not quite sure how to do a move, somebody else can take over, show you how to do it, and you can kind of practice it together. The other option that will give you is if you're disabled and you can't use a single controller for some reason, say you can't bring your hands together or you need to use a different part of your body to control something, like you haven't got one arm or something, you need to use a foot to control something, you'll be able to use two controllers and assign buttons so that you can, in effect, get full functionality out of the controller by using two different controllers. And I actually think that's a nice touch. It opens up gaming more to more people, in effect, and gives people the option to play games who may not have been able to do so in the past or would have had to frig around trying to work it out or come up with some proprietary controllers that would allow them to do these things. So that's a nice touch. Apparently they've also improved magnifier and narrator, but I don't know very much about that either. Last but not least, we're getting some more controls for our controllers, if you like, where there's more settings. So some of the settings that were unique to the Elite controller are now being moved across to the standard controller, and that's good news as well. So that is about it, I think. I don't think there's much else to talk about at this stage. It is a bit clunky. I have found since the update that I've not been able to access my network shares, and with the music here, I've had to access it from a USB drive because I can't, for some reason, get into my network shares. Whether that's the Xbox or whether it's my NAS drive or whether it's my network, I couldn't tell you, but I need to look into that. But it could be an issue with the Xbox update. I don't know. But yeah, that's about it. I don't think there's much else to look at this stage. It's looking quite promising. It's still a bit clunky. I don't think it's as sleek and as nice looking as the PS4 interface, but I do think it gives you your options to hand. And the interesting thing here is, even though the guide's on the left-hand side here and you've got a little, I don't know what you'd call it on the left-hand side, it's a step back to make a step forward, because this is very much like you would have had on the 360. The difference being that on the 360, when you press the guide, instead of getting this thing up on the left-hand side, it would have come up in the middle of the screen, and it would give you access to all sorts of things from there. And, you know, we've got things like background music available on here now. Wow, it's only taken them 4 years to make that functionality as good as it was on the 360, and I would suggest it's still not as good as on the 360. But hey, you know, it's progress. So yeah, is it going to be great? Well, I don't know. I'll wait and see what it's like when it's finally released. But for the time being, it looks like it might be okay. And it's definitely a step forward. Apart from that issue with being able to get home. But we'll have to learn to live with that one. Okay, well, I'm done. I'm going to go and lie down in a dark room. And I'll speak to you guys soon, hopefully. Bye.